If you've recently looked at buying a new GPS golf watch, then you know just how saturated the market has become. With so many makes, models and features available, choosing the right golf watch can be difficult. However, if you're in the market for a basic golf watch that gives you on-course GPS information with quite a few extra handy features and one that can be used off of the golf course too, then at just over £100, the ShotScope G5 might be a great choice for you. In this review, I'll tell you everything you need to know about the G5 and share my own thoughts and opinions having used it for several months. I'll discuss how easy it is to set up, comfortable it is to wear, and how well its key features perform on the golf course. If after watching this video you decide that the G5 is the right watch for you, be sure to use my direct ShotScope product link and exclusive 15% discount code, both in the description below, to get the best deal available when buying online. Now let's get on with this review. Before we discuss how the G5 performs, let's quickly summarise its key features. The G5 is completely customizable, so when you're ordering it, you can select a casing colour from a choice of grey or black and two colourful straps from a range of 12. It comes preloaded with over 36,000 golf courses worldwide, and all mapping is owned and conducted in-house by the ShotScope team. So if your course isn't mapped or needs updated, they'll do it for you within 48 hours. In golf mode, the G5 displays GPS distances to the front, middle and back of the green in both yards and meters, and also provides useful hazard, layup and dogleg information, all on its daylight readable colour screen. It has a handy digital scorecard and generous battery allowance that should last in excess of 2 rounds from a single charge. Now that you know more about what the G5 offers, let's take a closer look at how easy it is to set up. Out of the box, the G5 is incredibly quick and easy to set up. All you need to do is attach one of the two straps supplied to the casing, pop it onto your wrist, switch it on and follow the on-screen prompts. The device comes preloaded with over 36,000 golf courses and enough charge to last one full round, so technically you could build it and use it straight out of the box. However, I'd recommend first connecting to the ShotScope app to check for any firmware or course updates. This is done via Bluetooth, and in my experience the process generally works pretty well. I have once experienced a connectivity issue, but this was easily resolved by forgetting the G5's Bluetooth connection on my phone and then reconnecting via the ShotScope app. The G5 uses its own ShotScope specific cable to charge and not a micro USB or a USB-C cable like many other devices. This was a design decision to keep the watch small and lightweight, but it does mean that you'll need to make sure that you don't lose a cable, although ShotScope do sell replacement cables on their website. For a closer look at what comes inside the G5 box and the setup process, check out my G5 unboxing video using the card above or in the description below. Given its cheaper price point, the G5 wasn't designed to be an all-singing, all-dancing golf watch, nor was it released to compete with ShotScope's premium X5 model. Instead, it was primarily designed for golfers looking for a basic and affordable option. With the G5, you're not going to get a fancy touchscreen, performance tracking, or visual imagery of the hole you're playing, but that's to be expected at this price. The display itself is a little rudimentary, and navigation is done using 4 buttons on the outside of the casing rather than a touchscreen. Whilst some users may find this a little outdated, the use of physical buttons actually helps to make the device quick and easy to navigate and more usable in wet weather conditions where some touchscreen devices tend to struggle, and that's not a bad thing here in Scotland. Looks wise, the G5 isn't quite as pretty as some of the other more premium watches out there, or even the ShotScope X5, but I do like it, and it looks modern with the round face and the colourful straps, and it is a huge improvement on the somewhat retro looking ShotScope G3. Weighing only 42 grams, it is so light and comfortable to wear, I genuinely forget it's on my wrist most of the time, and it never feels like it interferes with my swing in any way. The silicone strap is really comfortable on the wrist, and it doesn't attract dirt, and it locks securely in place thanks to the buckle and 2 loops. If your wrists are on the slightly thicker side, then you'll be pleased to know that the straps are fairly lengthy with many holes, so the watch should fasten without any issues. Speaking of straps, as mentioned earlier, when buying the G5 you get to choose 2 straps from a range of 12. Although I ordered slightly more muted colours, shall we say, there are some fantastic options available, so you really can design the watch to suit your style and your taste. I'm not really aware of any other golf manufacturers who are offering this level of customisation. With looks and comfort out of the way, let's turn our attention to the equally important, if not more important subject of how well the G5 performs out on the golf course. Initiating a round using the G5 requires only a couple of button presses and takes around about 30 seconds to obtain a GPS connection. The process is so quick and easy that, to be honest, I usually start off when I'm standing waiting on the first tee. Once a round has started, the G5 displays distance information to the front, middle and back of the green on the hole that you are currently playing. The distances are dynamic, which means that they update as you walk closer to or further away from the hole. You can choose to display the distance information on the watch in either yards or meters using the settings menu or the app. In my experience using the G5, the distance information always updates quickly and I've never been given any reason to be concerned by its accuracy. Anytime I've compared with numbers from on-course markers, rangefinder readers or my playing partner's yardages, they've always checked out. Although visually the display is quite simple, ShotScope has done really well to fit so much information onto it, which saves you having to enter various menus to find this information. And they've managed to do so without the screen feeling very cluttered. The standard golf mode screen displays the time, battery life, distance to the front, middle and back of the hole you're playing, the hole number, its par, and even your cumulative score to par if scoring is enabled. And it does this all at the same time. One thing I like in particular is how the distance to the middle of the green is displayed on its own line in larger blue text, which makes it reading it at a quick glance much easier. The G5 does also have 2 other display modes, so if you don't like the layout of the standard display, you can switch to show less information on the screen, middle distance only, or you can show the same information as a standard display, but with a different layout. As well as distance information for the hole you're currently playing, the G5 also has a handy hazard menu which shows the location of and the distance to reach as well as carry bunker and water hazards on your current hole. Knowing how far it is not only to reach but to carry hazards is super helpful information to have on hand, especially when you're playing courses that you're maybe not familiar with. In addition to hazards, this menu also contains layup information, so you can see exactly how far you have to hit your next shot in order to leave yourself 100, 150 or 200 yards to the centre of the green. I find this feature to be really helpful, especially when I'm playing those longer par 5s where I may wish to lay up with a particular yardage or to use a specific club. For example, to leave myself 100 yards to use my 50-degree wedge. In terms of course management, if the hole you are playing has a dogleg, you'll also be able to see the distance to this within the hazard menu. This is a particularly useful feature for tee shots or blind approach shots on golf courses that perhaps you haven't played before. Another feature that's quite interesting on the ShotScope G5 is the last shot option, which lets you measure how far you've hit your last shot. Whilst the data is not logged for performance tracking like it is with the ShotScope X5, it can still be useful if you're manually taking note of how far you're hitting your shots, or you're just wanting to show off to your friends once you've outdriven them. As if all of those features weren't enough already, the G5 also has a built-in digital scorecard. Whilst this is quite basic and it does require manual input after completing each hole, it is a handy addition and it lets you keep track of your score to par on the main screen during your round if you decide to enable this view. I've not experienced any issues with incorrect scores having been calculated, and if I have forgotten to enter my score at any hole, it's easy enough to just go straight back and to add it at a later stage during the round. The only drawbacks with the scorecard feature are that your scores aren't tracked within the ShotScope app, so once you finish your round, your score will be wiped. And the scorecard can only be used for stroke play scoring and not Stableford, which some of you may find just a little bit disappointing. The scoring feature is good, but it's not quite perfect, although it's not to say that ShotScope won't make improvements in the future, especially given their track record of introducing new features and functionality via firmware releases. Now, with all of those features, you could be forgiven for thinking that the battery on the G5 might struggle, but that's not the case. ShotScope suggests that the G5's battery will last for 2 or more rounds from a single charge when used in GPS golf mode and 10 or more days in general watch mode. I've only tested its battery life over 2 full rounds from a full charge once, but it passed with flying colours. This isn't something I'm usually too concerned about anyway, as I only ever play 2 rounds on the same day once in a blue moon, so as long as the watch can handle a single round without any issues, that's usually good enough for me, and in all honesty, that's probably good enough for most weekend golfers too. When it comes to the battery life in general watch mode, I have to be honest and say that I haven't really specifically tested how long the battery lasts over a prolonged period of time, but it easily manages several days on a single charge, so there's no real concerns for me there either. Let's now take a closer look at the G5's main pros and cons, starting with its good points. The G5 is really competitively priced at just over £100 when using my discount code, and it comes with most of the essential features any amateur golfer will ever need. It's lightweight, comfortable, customisable, quick and easy to set up, and it will last for over 2 rounds from a single charge when used in golf mode. Once you've bought the G5, you'll not need to spend another penny as there are no ongoing subscription fees and all future firmware updates are free. Course mapping updates are conducted in-house by the ShotScope team, so mapping issues can be resolved and updates made within 48 hours. Finally, the G5 comes with a 2-year warranty as standard, and ShotScope offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can even try the G5 out, and if it's not for you, simply return it for a refund. Now that we've covered the pros, let's take a look at where the ShotScope G5 could be better. Visually, in terms of appearance, it's a little on the basic side and it lacks that premium look and feel offered by some of the other watches on the market, but it is worth remembering that it is a budget golf watch. The display doesn't show an overview of the hole you're currently playing, and the scorecard feature, although useful, isn't linked in any way to the ShotScope app, so your scores are not recorded, and that's something I would love to see ShotScope work on. Remember, if after watching this review you do decide to purchase a G5, or if you just want to have a go at building your own watch using ShotScope's Build Your Watch service, head to the ShotScope website using the link in the description below, and don't forget to enter my exclusive discount code at checkout to save an extra 15% on top of their current best prices. Next up, if you like the sound of what the ShotScope G5 offers but would like to track your performance statistics too, then why not find out more about the ShotScope X5 golf watch in this video here.